Good morning, folks. I have 10 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us for day 4 of our virtual traveler showcase. Thank you so much for joining us, and we have a fantastic presentation lined up for you today. But before we begin, I want to go over some quick housekeeping for you all. You will be muted throughout the presentation today, so if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the questions box, and we will answer as many of the questions that are typed in at the end. There are handouts included in this presentation that you're more than welcome to download and keep. Our travel professionals also have these documents on hand and they can walk you through the details. This presentation is being recorded today and we'll be sending you a link to the recording by email after the event. There is also a short survey included in the email as well, so if you could please take a few moments and complete the survey for us, your feedback is greatly appreciated. We have Traveler Showcase presentations through Thursday, January 28th, including 3 tomorrow, Saturday the 23rd. If you would like to see the full schedule of presentations and RSVP, you can do so at AAA.com/Traveler Showcase. And we will have information about how you can get in touch with our knowledgeable AAA travel professionals at the end of the presentation today. With that said, I am happy to have Azamara Cruises here with us today. What makes an Azamara cruise different from the rest? It's their focus on destination immersion experiences, which lets you stay longer and experience more on every one of their voyages. You'll also experience incredibly scenic waterways and prime docking locations, 2 great advantages of Azamara's boutique-style award-winning ships. Plus, you'll enjoy many inclusive amenities that will leave money in your wallet and put a smile on your face. It is my pleasure to introduce Kelly Ross, Strategic Business Development Manager for AAA's preferred travel partner, Azamara Cruises. Thanks for joining us today, Kelly.
Thanks so much, Nathan. I really appreciate it. And thanks everyone for joining us. I know this isn't how we would normally like to do these presentations, but here we are in the time that we are currently finding ourselves in with the pandemic and other things. But there is definitely light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm excited to share with you what Azamara is all about and some of the different and unique things that we do that really provide for a very different cruise experience. So as we get started, I'm actually going to turn my camera off just so it's a little less distracting and you can just focus on the presentation itself, and then we'll rejoin you here at the end and answer questions for you. So again, thanks so much for joining us here. And with that, let's learn a little bit more about Azamara and what makes us different. I like the title of this presentation because it truly is land travel by ship. And the reason that I say that is I've been in travel for nearly a little over 20 years, and the majority of that time was doing land tours with a tour operator where we did domestic and international escorted tours. So a lot of motor coach tours throughout the world with a lot of great in-depth sightseeing and staying in great hotels and that sort of thing. And what really drew me to Azamara 5 years ago was being able to deliver a very similar experience from a cruise product. I think one of the great things about travel, of course, is being able to unpack once and settle into a place, stay a little bit longer, see a little bit more, and not feel rushed in and out of a location and that sort of thing. And that's really what Azamara is all about. So with that, I want to first, before we begin into the heart of the presentation, I want to talk a little bit about our healthy return to service. And if you've been paying attention over the last few weeks, a couple months, you know that Azamara is part of Royal Caribbean Group. They partnered with Norwegian Cruise Lines to create what they called the Healthy Sail Panel. And this panel was headed by Dr. Scott Gottlieb, former head of the CDC, and former governor of Utah, Mr. Michael Levitt, who was part of the Health and Human Services during the Bush administration. So they co-chaired this fantastic array of experts from epidemiology, virology, maritime operations, and so forth to create a list of recommendations with the help of the CDC, who are part of these meetings, to create a very robust list of about 74 recommendations that really are focused around 5 areas of these areas of focus that they're highlighting to create our healthy return to service. And we feel that these challenges not only face cruise operators, but in many ways we see similar things faced with schools, long-term care facilities, hotels, restaurants, and so forth. So we've actually made these protocols available to anybody that actually wants to use them. So we're really looking at this as a way to return to cruising in a very healthy manner and do so in a way that is above and beyond what the expectations are. Now note that these are recommendations. They're not set in stone yet. We know that with the rollout of the vaccinations that hopefully will expedite here in the coming weeks, we know that there will be a combination of these protocols and vaccines. And as always with this last year, we have to be flexible and know that some things will change. So some of these may be a little bit more strict in the beginning, and then as we get further along in vaccinations and returning more and more to service, these will in some ways, I'm sure, wane. But just know for now that these 5 areas of focus are really designed to take aggressive measures to prevent COVID from entering the ships. And this is through robust education, screening, testing of both crew and guests prior to embarkation, reducing the transmission via air management strategies and enhanced sanitation protocols. They're also looking at implementing detailed plans to prevent the positive infection on board, including contingencies for treatment, isolation, and evacuation should that occur. And also we'll look at closely monitoring and controlling our shore excursions and protection for our crew and guests. And so know that we will not return to service until it is absolutely healthy and safe to do so. And our goal is to, as the chairman and president of Royal Caribbean Group, Mr. Richard Fain, always likes to say, it'll be safer on board than it is on Main Street America. So we are looking to be returning in a very healthy and safe environment. And so with that, just note that when it is safe to do so, we will return, and you'll be very well taken care of on any and all Royal Caribbean family of brands. So also just to kind of cap that off too, just keep in mind right now we are set to return to sailing May the 1st. That would be on our 14-night Black Sea voyage, and there's also an Amalfi Coast 6-night voyage departing around that same time. So we are not leaving our port of Glasgow, Scotland, where all 3 ships are currently laid up until the beginning of May, and we will certainly keep you posted if anything in that regard should change, but that's when we are getting set to start our Europe season. So with that, what makes Azamara different and very unique, as I mentioned at the beginning, is really our ability, and Nathan mentioned this as well, is our ability to provide a much richer and deeper in-depth destination experience from a cruise product. Oftentimes, especially non-cruisers think, oh, I don't really want to cruise, I don't get to see as much, I'm not in port as long, and that sort of thing. And that's really not true with Azamara. We are all about the connection. We're connecting guests with the local people, the local cultures, and a chance to just really look at life in a different perspective through what we call destination immersion. And we offer this through our 3 small ships that allow us to get into smaller, less traveled ports that a lot of places that a large cruise ship simply can't go. And that allows for us to deliver unparalleled destination experiences. And one of the key components of Azamara is the late and overnight stays. We truly believe that a lot of destinations really come to life and change quite a bit when the sun goes down. So we like to, again, with that focus on connection, allow guests to stay longer and later in these ports of call. And when you look at that, when you look at our itineraries, when you see a late night stay, that means it's 8 p.m. or later. A lot of times we'll be there till 6 or 7, but we really consider late night 8 or later, and then a lot of overnight stays as well. And again, that delivers very authentic cultural experiences. And we deliver this from 3 beautiful small ships, which I'll highlight here in just a moment. So we are a 7-continent cruise line. We do go all over the globe, and we do our broad brushstroke multi-country itineraries, which a lot of today's focus in Asia will include. But we also wanted to talk about our country intensive voyages. And these are where the entirety or the majority of the voyage is within one country. And you can see some great examples here on the screen, all throughout Europe, Scotland, Ireland, which are traditionally land programs, are something we can do via a cruise product in 10, 11, 12 nights that you'll see an in-depth, very in-depth experience in those 2 great countries, all throughout the Mediterranean as well. And then around the globe, other great places would be like South Africa. We'll talk about Japan a little bit more detail here in just a bit. And then also places Iceland, Norway, and so forth. All throughout the world, we offer these country intensive voyages. So I like to say to guests that say they've been maybe to the Mediterranean, I would say, well, you can go again for the first time with Azamara because you will likely see it very differently than you did if you've cruised on a large cruise ship or did it by land. So these are our country intensive voyages. I don't have a slide of this, but I also wanted to mention during this time a lot of folks are looking to maybe stay a little bit closer to home. And typically we don't offer places like the Caribbean, but we do in fact have 3 itineraries for late this year in 2021 that will begin in late November, mid-December, and then one over the Christmas and New Year's holidays that will be 13, 14 night Caribbean sailings. So you'll definitely see ports of call you wouldn't see on a larger cruise ship. On those itineraries, and they'll be round trip Miami. So if you're looking for something a little bit closer to home later in the year when you might feel a little bit more comfortable, do keep in mind we have those types of itineraries for this year as well. So how do we deliver these incredible destination experiences? And that is aboard our 3 identical sister ships, the Azamara Journey, the Azamara Quest, and the Azamara Pursuit. These are just the right size. They're not too big, they're not too small. Each carries approximately 700 guests with an international staff and crew of approximately 400. So that staff to crew, staff to guest ratio is absolutely incredible. All 3 of these ships have been recently renovated top to bottom, end to end in 2016, 2018, and then most recently in 2019 as well. So we took these former Renaissance ships and did a top to bottom end to end renovation to create a much more modern look and feel throughout not only all the public areas, but all the staterooms and suites as well. So we offer an array of different categories from interior to our ocean views, as you see on the right, all the way up to our top suites. We have an entry-level suite class called the Club Continent that are very, very comfortable. There's about 34 per ship. They're going to be about 270 square feet. Our top suites, the Club Ocean, Club World Owners, and the Club Spa suites are a little bit bigger at 450, 500 square feet. And our most prevalent category is, of course, the verandas you see in the middle. But whether it's the top suites down to the interiors, same luxurious beddings, same fantastic toiletries and amenities in the stateroom. So they're all very, very comfortable, all, just with great amenities such as the infotainment system, bedside USB ports for charging phones, which kind of seems like something small, but it's very, very convenient. And then of course the luxurious beddings and so forth. So you'll be very comfortable no matter where you are on board. And then we have great public space throughout. I don't have shots of everywhere, but we have our beautiful cabaret lounge, not pictured here, but it is our main entertainment area on the ship, Deck 5. It also has on the Quest and the Pursuit, the photo on the right there, the beautiful den. This is a renovation that took place in the last couple of years where we took out the casinos because we are so port intensive. You can't open casinos until you're out of ports. And so it was a very underutilized space. So we created the beautiful den here, midship, Deck 5. Fantastic with the Spirits Bar. It's a great piano bar in the evening. Lots of great things going on throughout the day. So very comfortable space. One of my favorites is the living room, as you see in the center there. It's a great evening spot for entertainment. Get a drink before or after dinner, complimentary wine and tapas and so forth. And then, of course, our beautiful pool decks as well. We have great fitness and spa on board all 3 of our ships as well, shopping and so forth. So great public space throughout. And then dining is fantastic on board Azamara. You really don't need to look at your itinerary to see where you are in the world. You just need to look at the menu because we will take inspiration from destinations all over the world and bring that on board. And you'll see that especially in our dining options, from themed dinners to themed entrees in our main dining, which is Discoveries in the center there, which is an open single seat concept that you're able to dine during certain hours at your leisure. One of my favorite places is the casual dining on the patio, especially in the evening. It becomes off the menu linen service, but during the day, it's a great casual area to grab a fantastic salad or a Greek burger or something like that. And then we have 2 specialty restaurants. Pictured here is Prime C, our wonderful steakhouse. And then we have a Mediterranean Italian themed menu over in Aquilina. These are a small cover charge for guests not in suites. It's just $30 per person. If you're in suites, it is complimentary throughout the voyage, and it is a fantastic, fantastic dining experience. And then as Nathan mentioned at the very beginning during his introduction, he mentioned we are very inclusive on board as well. So we are going to include all of your shipboard gratuities, all your standard spirits, wine, beer, specialty coffees, teas, bottled water, and so forth. All of that's included that you would pay extra for on a lot of other cruise lines. And we also will include some wonderful cultural evening experiences. Some of you may be familiar with our Azamazing evenings, and those are a little bit up in the air right now just because of the current environment and what we'll be able to do in the coming months. So we are going to be bringing cultural evenings on board and doing things to really highlight the destination as we always have. And then as things, we get past everything and hopefully sooner than later, we'll start to reincorporate those types of evening experiences in more depth as we have so far. And then shuttle services. It's a great way to get to and from certain parts of the city and so forth when other transportation is not available. So very, very inclusive on board, what we like to call our beautiful boutique hotels at sea. Think about a boutique hotel. It is a small, centrally located hotel. It's usually not part of a big chain, and it just allows for exploration from the doorstep of that hotel into great cities. That's very much what it feels like on Azamara. It's country club casual. It's never stuffy, but you won't ever be taken care of better than you are on Azamara. So welcome home to your beautiful boutique hotels at sea. So with that, let's turn our attention to the area of focus for today, and that of course is Asia, one of the great regions of the world that we visit. And there is so much to see and do in this part of the world. It's really hard to describe just the sheer spectacle of ancient temples that are wedged between soaring skyscrapers, lush green islands a stone's throw away from the sights and sounds and smells of pulsating cities. There's just so much to see and do in this part of the world that it really is has something for everybody. And so I want to just kind of highlight the different regions that we visit, starting here in Southeast Asia. And according to Fedor's Travel, Southeast Asia has become the quote unquote new destination du jour for luxury minded travelers who appreciate great value. And that's exactly what Azamara is all about. Southeast Asia is going to treat all five senses with its colorful, vibrant markets, the beautiful beaches. You'll have the peaceful silence of mountain temples and the smell and taste of some of the best food on earth. Then when it comes to Northeast Asia, you're gonna, on Azamara, voyage through this region of the world, taking in places like China, Taiwan, and Japan. Even though Japan may be known as the land of the rising sun, it's also a chance to see plenty of sunsets too, because with Azamara, as I mentioned earlier, we stay longer and later than other folks. And I'll highlight a couple of these itineraries, but we do have some great Japan itineraries as well. And then lastly, we'll incorporate the Middle East and the Arabian Gulf as part of this region of the world as well. And you'll be mesmerized by what this particular part of the world has to offer. And you'll be able to stroll through ancient souks before hitting the ski slopes inside a shopping mall, or kayak with dolphins and then visit some of the oldest and largest mosques in the world. There's so much to see in this part of the world, and with Azamara, you'll discover that incredible juxtaposition of old and new and traditional and modern in countries like the United Arab Emirates, Oman, Bahrain, and Qatar. So this is a fantastic look at what we do in these different parts of Asia. So taking another little more in-depth look at Asia, or Northeast Asia, think about the architecture of this part of the world. Great nighttime skyline over the city of Osaka, or you can climb to the top of Victoria's Peak and take in the sweeping 360-degree views of the ultra-modern futuristic city of Hong Kong. And then there's the Bund in Shanghai. As you can see in the upper right there, this is the beautiful waterfront promenade that has this incredible blend of outstanding modern skyscrapers in conjunction with this rich French architecture as well. It's very fascinating to see. Great traditions and cultures throughout Northeast Asia as well. In the city of Okinawa, Japan, you'll be able to go and visit the Tsuboya Pottery District. And in this district, they've been handcrafting ceramics by royal decree since 1682. You can also then get swept up in the enchantment of traditional Japanese art of Rokugo storytelling. This was invented by Buddhist monks. And then also visit wonderful UNESCO World Heritage sites as well, and also pay a somber visit to the city of Hiroshima, as the US and Japan are inexorably connected through the end of what happened at the end of World War II, and it'll be a chance to see some of that on this itinerary as well, on these itineraries as well. And then great cuisine throughout Northeast Asia as well. You can visit in Osaka. You'll be able to sample the local regional cuisine, and there's a dish called okonomiyaki, which is a savory pancake that's served with a variety of fresh seafood and vegetables. And of course, in Japan, no visit would be complete without sampling the famed Kobe beef as well. Looking at Southeast Asia, lots of temples to be able to visit and see in this part of Asia. In Penang, Malaysia, you can visit the largest Chinese temple in all of Southeast Asia. You can also take in 400 eye-catching temples, Buddhist temples in vibrant Bangkok alone, and then explore the thousands of temples that dot the verdant island of Bali in Indonesia on some of our itineraries that will go from Australia into Southeast Asia and the reverse. Great traditions here as well. Learn the healing practices of Myanmar's traditional medicine doctors, and then also a chance to go and sample the indigenous life at the Mari Mari cultural village near Borneo in Malaysia. And then again, great cuisine all throughout Southeast Asia. Thai food is of course one of my favorites, but there's also the Nyonya cuisine, which is in Kuala Lumpur. It's a delightful Asian fusion of cuisine that's a fantastic blend of Chinese ingredients and wok cooking techniques that's paired with Malay spices. So it's very different and unique there as well. And then of course the Middle East and Arabia. Wonderful history in this part of the world. UNESCO World Heritage Sites are quite prevalent, one of which would be the Bahrain Fort. This was once the capital of the Dilmun civilization. And some of the uncovered artifacts here date back 3000 to 3000 BC. Then there's also the chance to marvel at the 82 domes, 24-karat gilded chandeliers, and millions of Swarovski crystals and not to mention the largest hand-knotted carpet at the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque in Abu Dhabi. And then you can go and spend a day at the IMP Designed Museum of Islamic Art in Doha, Qatar, where there's 1,400 years of art from 3 different continents on display. And then of course, shopping. Shopping in this part of the world is absolutely incredible. And then one of the highlights would be, of course, visiting the Mall of the Emirates, where I mentioned earlier, you can do your shopping and go skiing inside this incredible mall. So lots to see and do and uncover throughout all of Asia. And so with that, with Azamara over the next year and into 2022, and even now open in 2023, are voyages. But between 21 and 22, there are 11 different voyages that will start and or include ports of call all throughout Asia. And I just wanted to quickly highlight these itineraries just to give you an idea of what they are. So 16-night ancient civilizations will be on the journey. In November of this year, you can see from Athens to Dubai, featuring 8 ports of call, 2 late nights with an overnight in Safaga, Egypt, which is your gateway into Luxor. So a great overnight stay there as well. The 19-night India, Sri Lanka, and Myanmar itinerary is a great one as well. This features 6 ports of call, and included on this and in a lot of these voyages, those that like a blend of port stops and a little bit more relaxation of sea days. Oftentimes there's some great days at sea on these itineraries as well. So on this itinerary, there's 4. And this includes 2 late nights and 3 overnights. Those 3 overnights will be in Kochi, India, Colombo in Sri Lanka, and then Yangon, which is in Myanmar. And this is another wonderful itinerary, 12 nights starting in Singapore, working our way down through Bali, then into the western coast of Australia. So it's a great, unique opportunity to go into the western side of Australia. This features 3 late nights and 2 overnights. And so you'll have an overnight in Bali and then an overnight in Geraldton, Australia as well. Then we have an Australia intensive. So its majority of this, of course, is going to be in Australia. It has 2 overnights, one of which is in Cairns, Australia, but then also back through Indonesia and into Singapore for your second overnight at the end of that itinerary. And so you'll have a chance to spend a great last night in that fantastic city. And then we have a 16-night Vietnam, Hong Kong, and Japan. This is a wonderful opportunity to go through an array of different countries, of course, starting in Singapore, ending in Tokyo. This is going to include 3 late nights and 2 overnight stays, and plenty of sea days on this one as well. There are 7 days at sea as we make our way through on this itinerary. And then our Japan intensive. So we have 2 in 2022. They are back-to-back, so they're very close to one another. We also have introduced these in 23 as well, which are a little bit earlier. We'll start a little bit earlier. So in 2023, you'll have an even better chance to take in the famed cherry blossoms as well. But these itineraries feature 13 ports of call, 5 late nights, and 2 overnights in Kobe and in Tokyo. And then you'll also do some cruising through the inland sea. So when you think of Japan, for example, incredibly expensive destination to do by land when you include transportation, hotel, food, and so forth. But to do it in an intensive cruise manner like you can with Azamara, the value is absolutely incredible. So these are available next spring in 2022. And then 17-night Asia Intensive. This is going to feature 5 different countries that you can visit on this itinerary, 9 ports of call, and 3 overnight stays with 2 late nights included. Those overnights will be in Japan in the city of Kagoshima. You'll have an overnight in Hong Kong and then an overnight in Ho Chi Minh City as well. And then our 23-night spice route, plenty of days at sea, including an overnight passage through the Suez Canal, 10 ports of call, and again, an overnight in Luxor, Egypt, as you make your way through this unique itinerary. And then ancient trade routes takes us from Athens into Dubai, and this will feature a couple overnights as well. One again in Egypt, in Luxor or Safaga, and then ending in Dubai for an overnight as well. And then one of my favorites that are, and this is the last itinerary that I wanted to mention, is this really unique opportunity. It's 11-night Arabia and World Cup. For soccer fans, this will be where the World Cup is in 2022, and we will have more information as we get closer as far as when and where games are and who's playing and all that sort of thing. But we will be able to take advantage of that because this features 4 ports of call, as you can see, 2 late nights, but it's also 5 overnights on this itinerary. You're going to do an overnight in Dubai. You'll do an overnight in Muscat, Oman, 2 nights in Doha in Qatar, and then an overnight in Abu Dhabi as well. The other great feature of this particular itinerary is the chance to do one of our Perry golf programs as well. This is in addition to the cost of the voyage. It's an additional $3,200 approximately, but it includes 5 rounds of golf. You'll have a chance to play some incredible different golf courses in the region, so a very unique opportunity for golfers. The package includes round-trip transportation to and from the courses, your greens fees, cart and/or caddies. You'll have no need to bring your equipment on board the ship. It's handled for you throughout the entire voyage. It really is a very, very inclusive package. And this package will give you a chance to play 2 different rounds in Qatar, a round in Oman, and then a round in both Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And you can see that information on our website, and you can always reach out to your valued travel advisors at AAA Oregon as well to get more information. So I want to wrap up with a little bit more in-depth look at 5 of these unique ports. Some of these I mentioned are overnight stays on these different itineraries, and they all feature unique things that you can see and do. So one of the first ones would be here in Yangon, Myanmar, so formerly known as Rangoon in what was formerly known as Burma. It's really called the Garden City of the East. Myanmar, more than any other Asian country, is in the midst of this massive transformation, and at the center of that is the capital city of Yangon. It was a former British colonial capital, and the streets of Yangon are lined with colonial period buildings, and the most impressive piece of architecture is hands down the Shwedagon Pagoda, which you can see in the lower left. It's this incredible gilded dome with turrets that rise above the city like a massive crown. Also, part of the local legend is the Shwedagon Paya's location high atop Yangon on Singutara Hill, which is a sacred place that's said to be sacred since the beginning of time. It's one of the most sacred Buddhist sites in all of Myanmar. Also, you can jump on a circular train for about $1. This hop aboard circular route will take you through a very diverse cross section of this fantastic city. And then because we are on an overnight stay, you could go out and visit in the upper right corner there, the Bagan Temple Complex. And this was started around 849 AD. Today, it is one of the richest archaeological sites in all of Asia, with more than 3,000 ancient monuments, temples, pagodas spread across this area along the Ayeyarwady River. One of the most incredible temple complexes in the world. So that would be available for you on a visit here in Yangon. The next one is Kobe, and I mentioned this a bit earlier. Lots to do here in Kobe, and here this particular city is named, of course, and it bears the same name as the famed beef that it's known for, but it is a fantastic, very important port of call. And it's a short bullet train ride from Kyoto, which is the ancient capital of Japan from the 8th through the 19th century. So in the lower right there, you'll see you can do an excursion to take in the highlights of Kyoto. And that will give you a chance to go to the temple on Mount Kiyomizu, see the Nijo Castle, and also the famed Golden Pavilion. In the upper right, you'll see the Kobe Port Tower. This is in popular Merkin Park. This approximate 108-meter tall symbol is the symbol of Kobe, and it is offering the history of the sea-going vessels, the business of shipping and international trade. The museum's observatory provides incredible views of Kobe as well. And then in the lower left, of course, is one of Japan's most recognizable landmarks, and it's a UNESCO site. That is the Himeji Castle. It is a marvelously preserved example of classical Japanese architecture dating back to the 1600s. Then, of course, a visit to Kobe would not be complete without going to a local restaurant and sampling the famed Kobe beef that this particular city is so renowned for. Lots goes into this beef and its preparation, not only at the time of its cooking, but just the raising of the cattle in very specific ways. So the Tajima cows are carefully selected. They're raised on specialized farms that are provided. They are provided this incredible stress-free environment, and it's just a unique way that they're raised from the time that they're born all the way to the point where you get to enjoy them, especially here in a local restaurant in Kobe, which would be fantastic. Mumbai, India. So this is another great port of call. Lots of hustle and bustle in Mumbai. It's really buzzing with adventures to discover for everybody. So tons of history. Here you can go to the Mumbai City Museum, where there's about 3,500 objects telling Mumbai's story. Also, you can escape that hustle and bustle and go out to Elephanta Island, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and tour the maze of cave temples and temple carvings. Here, some of the highlights in Mumbai would be the Prince of Wales Museum. This was built in honor of the first visit of King George V, and it houses a fine collection of an incredible array of art, historical relics, and more. Outside of Mumbai, Canary features 109 Buddhist caves dating back from the 2nd to the 9th centuries. And then Shades of Mumbai would be a tour where you can experience Mumbai with a drive to a local railway station and the local laundry for photos that you'll never be able to duplicate. Drive past the Haj Ali shrine with its white domes before exploring further. So great sights to see here in vibrant Mumbai, India. And then a couple more stops. One would be Ho Chi Minh City. Again, this is a place where we do a lot of overnight stays. It's a fantastic port of call, whether you refer to it as Saigon or Ho Chi Minh City. It really is a fantastic stop full of French colonial architecture, Asian influences. A lot of those traditional French-styled homes have been converted into trendy restaurants serving one of my favorite cuisines in the world, of course, and that's Vietnamese cuisine. So be sure to try the banh mi sandwich while you're there, and maybe a visit to the Ben Thanh Market. Some highlights would be the Ho Chi Minh Museum, and this was founded in the old customs house and features, and this is in the upper right corner there, many of Ho's personal effects, including clothing and memorabilia. Lower left, of course, is Reunification Hall, formerly in the Presidential Palace. It's the site where the American occupation and involvement in Vietnam ended when the North Vietnamese army crashed through the gates in April of '75. And then a really in-depth look at the local life, especially along the river, would be a journey along the Mekong Delta. You'll journey through miles of rice fields, bustling highways, and small villages into the Mekong River. And your experience will journey through a maze of small canals. You'll chance to witness the lives of the river dwellers and more. So a great way to see this part of the world is with the Mekong Delta journey as well. And then I wanted to wrap up here in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka was once known as Serendib, which is the origin of the word serendipity. And it's an apt description for this beautiful, for the pleasant surprises that are certain to pop up as you explore this gem of an island in its charming capital city of Colombo. And it's here that you'll be able to take in such sites as Wapatu National Park. And in the park, you'll have a chance to see elephants and leopards, and even the elusive sloth bear are part of the wildlife highlights here in Sri Lanka's largest park. And also nearby is the sacred Bodhi tree, and it dates some 2,000 years in age. Also a chance to go to the Temple of the Tooth, and this is a chance to travel to the hills of Kandy and the Temple of the Tooth, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This Buddhist temple is named for the holy relic housed inside, which is Buddha's tooth, and the temple is with its elaborate golden roof as part of the Royal Palace of Kandy. And next door, you'll find the National Museum as well. And then in the lower right is the Temple of Kalania. And this was built on a site believed to have been visited by Buddha himself over 2,000 years ago. And so when worshipers come, they do lay these beautiful sprigs of lotus flowers around the Great White Pagoda, light oil lamps, and sprinkle the base of the Tree of Enlightenment with purifying water. So a very pleasant visit here to Sri Lanka and the city of Colombo. Not a lot of people think about this part of the world or this particular destination, but it is absolutely fantastic. So those are really 5 highlights of Asia. I hope you have a better idea of what we offer when it comes to this part of the world. And again, we go to all 7 continents. Right now, through the end of March, on a lot of these voyages through 2021 and into 2022, we have our up to 40% off savings. And in Ocean View and above, you'll also include free Wi-Fi package as well. I know some people are a little leery about booking travel right now and booking cruises, but we are seeing tremendous trends for booking further down the road. Q4 of this year, 2022 is booking very well because there is light at the end of the tunnel, and we will again be traveling very soon and cruising very, very soon. And so now is a great time to take advantage of that. In addition, because of your participation in today's presentation, which I very much appreciate, you'll be able to take advantage of a little extra onboard credit as well. If you book any sailing, any Azamara sailing between now and February 5, you'll get up to a $500 onboard credit per stateroom or per suite. So 500 for suites, 400 for the verandas, and 300 for ocean views. And that will combine with the current offer of up to 40% off as well. So great extra onboard spending for you for joining us today. I want to wrap up before I turn it back over to Nathan here in just a moment to just remind you and share with you our Cruise with Confidence program. This is good through the end of this month. And right now, if you book any of these voyages between now and January 31st, there's some benefits to protecting your investment. First of which is the best price guarantee. That means if you book anything between now and the 31st, up to 48 hours before the departure of that voyage, you will get, if a better price comes along, you will be able to take advantage of that better offer. So for example, if it's a week or so before you're sailing and a better rate comes along, you'll get that better rate and the difference will be provided for you in an onboard credit. If that better rate comes along before you make final payment, you'll just pay the reduced difference at final payment. There's also a future cruise credit. So we know things can change. You have up to 48 hours before you sail to cancel and receive 100% of the amount paid in a future cruise credit towards any sailing through the future up to April of later in, I believe it's April of 23, but we'll be able to check that for you as well. Also, same cruise, same price, our lift and shift program. So anybody that has a voyage booked with us right now and you're a little concerned and you're not sure you want to go, you can, before the end of this month, just simply move that voyage to a very similar voyage in the next year. It has to be within 30 days of the original date and on a similar itinerary. But any booking that you have now and you want to move, whatever the value of that booking was, if there's onboard credits attached to it and those sorts of things, that will move with it as well. So again, all of this information is available for you through the valued travel partners at AAA Oregon. They are a wealth of knowledge, so please reach out to them. And I would just simply like to say thank you very much for your time this morning. And thank you for allowing me to share some information with you about Azamara and of course, the wonderful region of Asia. So I'm gonna turn it back over to you, Nathan.
Thanks for the information, Kelly, and thanks for joining us today. You know, we've been talking a lot with our members. You know, this pause has made us think about the future, and we've been talking a lot about bucket list destinations when we're able to go again. And Asia has always been a bucket list destination for me, particularly Vietnam. So I may need to make a visit to Vietnam with with Azamara when I'm able to do so again.
We would love to have you. We welcome you on board for sure.
Before I get into how you can contact AAA, if you haven't sent in a question yet and you would like to do so, now is a great time. To get in contact with us, you're more than welcome to reach us by phone. The 800 number is listed for you there. That will put you in touch with a AAA travel professional that is nearest you. If you've worked with one of our travel professionals before, you're more than welcome to contact them directly. If you haven't, a good way to contact us is through our email, and our email is AAAtravel@AAAoregon.com. Just give us some basic information as to what you're looking for. If you can provide us with your membership number, that would be great, and then we can forward along those details to a travel professional that can help you out. You're always more than welcome to visit us on our website at AAA.com, more specifically, AAA.com/travel. It has tons of great resources for you, including information about all of our preferred travel partners, including Azamara. And then if you haven't been to one of our AAA service centers before, the best way to find out the location nearest you is AAA.com/locations. You just have to plug in your zip code and it'll tell you where to go. If you do want to talk to a AAA travel professional in person, our service centers are open at this time. We're just asking that you call ahead and schedule an appointment so that we can kind of navigate how many people are coming in and out of our service centers just to make sure everyone is safe. We're still dealing with some uncertain times, so we just want to ensure the safety for everyone. We did have a few questions come in, Kelly, during the presentation. I believe you covered some of this already, but if we just want to talk about it again. So you were talking about future cruise credits for folks that were scheduled on cruises for 2020. When do they need to book by to be able to use the cruise credits that they have now, and when do they need to travel by?
So the cruise credits that they have that were part of the cancellations that were instituted because of the current situation, I will get back to you. I believe they have through the beginning of 2023 now to sail by, and because there's been continual sort of moving of the goalpost, if you will, in terms of when we can sail again. Some of those dates have changed. So let me get back to you, Nathan, so you could share that with everybody so that there is specific information. But also on our website, you can always click the travel advisory section, and there's a lot of information in there as well. And again, I apologize because the dates have moved a little bit, but sailings are open through the beginning of 2023. So guests will be able to book a lot further out and utilize those future cruise credits. And if there's ever, you run into an issue, and just have your travel advisor give me a call and we'll work through that. We try to be as flexible as possible because we know these times have been really, really unprecedented and unique and challenging. So I never like to say no. So give me a call. But again, I'll get you the specifics on that. But we are open to 2023. So
okay, and remind me again, Kelly, Azamara's current cruise pause is through what date now?
So we're paused through the end of April. So our first scheduled sailings will be May the 1st, one of which is I'm trying to think of the ship. I want to say it's either the Journey or the Quest, but I think it's the Quest. It's a 14-night Black Sea departing on May 1st, and then a Italy, Amalfi Coast, Dalmatian Coast, 6-night short one on around the same date, around May 1st.
So. Okay, very good.
Mm-hmm.
And then just taking a look at some of your slides. So a lot of your Asia itineraries were March, April, May timeframe, and then a few October, November. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about what the weather is like during that time so folks can better plan ahead?
Yeah, it's a great question. And Southeast Asia, especially, they like to describe it as hot and hotter. Through the summer months, it's going to definitely be the hottest and the most humid and that sort of thing. So we like to travel through different regions of the world when it's really the best time to go weather-wise. So that's why we always go in the early part of the year and then late in the season as well, as far as beginning of winter, because it's much cooler than it would be if you go in the summer. And so just expect it still to be warm, still to have some humidity and so forth. But those are the best times of the year to go weather-wise. That's why we choose them.
And then I wanted to reiterate the lift and shift that you had talked about at
Mhm.
the end of your presentation today, which is really a great asset for planning sailings in the future. I know that folks may be a little bit hesitant to start planning right now, but actually right now is a great time to do it, especially if you can take care or take advantage of this lift and shift. So start planning for those adventures that you want right now. And should you get to a place where you don't feel quite comfortable going on that vacation at that time, the lift and shift is a great tool that you can just pick it up and move it to whenever you think will be um, a better fit for you, so that you feel comfortable when cruising. So
Yeah, so but do keep in mind though that the lift and shift is really for bookings that are already made and they're
sure,
looking to move them. If you book a voyage by January 31st, but then you want to lift and shift it, say in the spring of, in a couple, months, you probably won't be able to at that point. So you want to do any lifting and shifting before the end of the month. But with
right,
that said, the future cruise credit is also another great benefit, because if you're planning to lift and shift and you miss that deadline and you decide to cancel and it's, a month or so before your voyage, you'll get a full 100% future cruise credit that you can apply to a future sailing as well. So that's a great benefit as well. And then, as I said, if you are doing a cancellation and you say a small onboard credit falls off because of it, it's not part of a lift and shift, just reach out to me. We'll do what we can to assist you with that as well, just because we want to make sure that you're happy and traveling when it's safe and best for you to do so.
sure. And thank you for the clarification on that, Kelly.
Mhm.
I'm not seeing any more questions in my question box right now. Is there anything that you would like to add before we sign off for the day?
No, just again, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Nathan, and everyone at AAA Oregon. We certainly appreciate the partnership. We know these are unique and challenging times, but I think we all can agree that there's definitely some light coming at the end of a very, very long tunnel. And so whether you feel safe traveling later this year or you want to plan out as far as 2023, reach out to your AAA travel advisor. They'll be able to find the best itinerary that suits your interests and what you want to do. And whether it's with Azamara or any of the other great suppliers that are doing these virtual events for you guys, just keep traveling. It's going to help us do what we love to do, and that's help you guys see the world. So thank you guys
Agreed.
very much.
And if you do think of any questions after the presentation today, again, feel free to reach out to us at any of the ways that are on your screen right now. Um, if you're ready to start talking about your future travel plans, AAA is here to help. And like I said, you will be getting a recording of this webinar today in an email shortly after the presentation. So if you want to go back and review it, you're more than welcome to do so. Thank you again to everybody for joining us today. I hope that you have a great rest of the day and a fantastic weekend. And I hope to see you at future Traveler Showcase presentations. Have a great day.